A very good evening and welcome to a Times exclusive special. Tonight with me, Banda, and I'm glad that you could join us. The program tonight is coming to you courtesy of Rainbow Paints.
They say blood is thicker than water. Reality tells us that even family lets one down sometimes. We still have to face the harsh weather as individuals. We say Rainbow Weather Shield paint is thicker than blood. The paint endures the hottest of days, the heaviest of rains, the dustiest of seasons, and the windiest of nights. Not even the toughest molds can stand this hero of a paint. Rainbow Weather Shield, family and true friend that sees no weather. Rainbow Paints, peace of mind, part of the deal.
My guest tonight is His Excellency, the former President of the Republic of Malawi, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, who is also President of the Democratic Progressive Party. We are here at Page House in Mangochi. Your Excellency, we are profoundly honored that you could grant us time. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for coming, and this is your first time to come here.
First time to come here. Quite a beautiful place you have here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So let me say, Mikasa Sukasa.
Mikasa Sukasa.
That's right. My house is your house.
Thank you.
So feel at home.
Thank you very much.
And I'm glad you're here.
Thank you very much. This is your first major interview since you left the presidency. How are you?
Actually, you're right. You're right.
Yes, first major interview.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to talk about tonight.
Indeed.
I hope you will be kind enough to allow me to ask you almost anything.
Sure, please.
Since you left Sanjika 3 years ago, how are you doing, Your Excellency?
I'm doing very well. Health-wise, I'm very, very well. I'm doing a lot of things, doing a lot of reading. And also writing, still doing my academic things, international conferences, but mostly virtually, because I don't like to travel. I've had many invitations to travel overseas, but I don't like traveling very much now. When I was young, like at my age, I was very excited about traveling.
Yeah.
But now, sitting on that plane, strapped on that seat for hours, not anymore. So I do mostly virtually. So I'm doing that, and I'm also working on my story. My story is a very long story. As you know, I've been in politics for 70 years now.
Yeah.
I started politics when I was 13 years old.
13 years?
13 years old.
Okay.
In 1953 in Cholo, where the first time we were arrested, fighting the imprisonment of Group Veg Headman in Ngamani. That was 1953, and I'm sure you're aware of 1953 riots, which preceded 1959. About 5 people were killed. So I have a long story to tell, and I'm working on that.
So it's your book?
Yes, my book, my memoir, but I have to bring also my brother in, so it gets very complicated.
Yeah.
Because our lives are so intertwined that I can't tell my story without his story.
Yeah.
So it gets very complicated, but I'm working on that.
You could have decided to settle in Blantyre or Cholo or even Lilongwe.
Right.
Why Mangochi? Why did you decide to come and stay here?
No, I'm sure you can see the water there.
Yes.
The mountains. I like to stay near the water. Even in the United States, my houses are near lakes. I like the water, so I like to look at water, mountains. It gives you something. I don't know what it is about.
And how often do you go to the lake?
Almost every day. At my office, my bedroom, my office. The moment I wake up, the first thing I look at the lake.
Okay.
And those blue mountains there every day, and we walk there quite often. You see there is that hut there.
Yeah.
I told them.
Yeah.
In the sign there, so we go there and sit and talk and chat with people who pass by. So that's why I moved Mangochi. But I haven't left Cholo, of course. I have a house in Banda, as you know.
Yeah.
And Cholo is my home. So I try to go to Cholo as often as I can.
And you talked about owning houses in United States of America?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You still own them?
Yes, I do.
Why? I thought you had done with America.
Well, not quite. You know, I have my children there.
Yeah.
And my grandchildren. And so I need somewhere, to stay when I go back. Actually, I only have one house now left. I sold the others.
Okay.
But I want townhouse in the city of St. Louis.
Okay.
Near the university. And that's where I intend to go and stay whenever I go back. Unfortunately, the last 2 years I've not been able to travel to the United States, but I plan to do so, at some point, visit my friends there. I was there for so long. I have so many friends there. Those of you who came when I received the honor degree at Washington University, you see how many people mobbed me at that place. It was just marvelous and beautiful. So I'd like to go back and see my friends and others, and of course my children and my grandchildren also, to see them.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's quickly talk about Cyclone Fred.
Yes.
It has devastated the nation, especially in the southern part of the country.
Yeah.
Over 500 deaths.
Yeah.
And 300 missing.
Yeah.
And the numbers are still growing every day. I wanted to get your comment on Cyclone Fred and what you are doing about it.
Yeah, it's very, very sad. And again, express my condolence to all the family that lost their loved ones, but also lost their property and their livestock, farms. I want to give my condolences to the people. This is a very, very unprecedented situation we have in this country. And as I said at Good Samaritan, when I went to visit people there in Bland, I said, God has reasons for what he does, and that I don't think God has forsaken us or abandoned us. This is God's will. And we have to accept that and then move on, as we should. And I think I'm going to encourage people. We'll rebuild this country. We'll rebuild this country.
When you say we will rebuild, who are you referring to?
Malawians.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember 2015? What serious floods, if you remember. I traveled to almost 15 or 20 districts over the south here, up to the north, up to Karonga. We had floods and a lot of property was destroyed, but we rebuilt. The country rebuilt that. 2015, it was the worst flood then. This is the worst. And then 2017 we had floods also. And we tried to rebuild. We've got people in shelters. I visited people in various Palombe, down over there in Loashire, and so forth. So we will rebuild the country. We will. We have no choice.
What have you done personally? You've talked about visiting the Samaritan Camp.
Yes.
What else are you doing to ease the pain of those affected by Cyclone Fred?
I did visit the camp, the two camps, one in Dirande, at Atupe Primary School, and then one at Good Samaritan, and I talked to the people there and encouraged them to pray and not to give up. And I'm planning to distribute some matters. We were still as a party doing urging the party to wherever they are, which part of Malawi they are, to assist there. And if you look at the news, members of DPP all over the country, include some of the presidential aspirants, distribute materials in Palombe, down in Loashire, and so forth. And I myself collecting more resources I tend to source more resources, and also do my part, the part I can. But we're not in the government, so we can only do that much. But we'll certainly continue.
President Lazarus Chakwera had called for a meeting
Right.
with former presidents.
Yeah.
Can you just confirm with me whether you were indeed invited and if the invitation letter reached this residence?
Yes, I got the invitation letter, I believe, last night. But I got the invitation.
Last night?
Well, the actual official letter got here last night.
Okay.
The hard copy.
For today's meeting?
For today's meeting, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But I believe last night. But yes, he did invite me and the others. I just didn't see much of a need for a meeting of this kind at this particular time. It wasn't clear what the agenda was. In fact, there was no agenda, actually.
They didn't include the agenda in the invitation letter?
There was no agenda whatsoever, as far as I remember.
Okay.
I think it was something to do with to discuss how we can collectively help the country, or something along those lines. So I don't quite remember. It's upstairs, but I felt that the meeting was not necessary at this particular time. So
why?
I did not attend.
Why?
I didn't see much point about it, because I think if you want collective action, you probably need technical people and others. I didn't see bringing politicians and politics into this was the right thing to do. It looked like some kind of political stunt to some people.
And even to you?
Well, to me, no, not necessarily, but I think to many people, it looked like a political stunt. And so,
what's a political stunt? What's a political stunt in your view?
I think
here is a head of state who says, colleagues, you have been in this office.
Yes.
Come, we have this tragedy with us.
Yes.
Let's reason together, find solution.
Yes.
And you're calling it a political stunt?
I'm not saying, I say people thought it was a political stunt. I didn't say it is.
Okay.
But most people think it was, including many advisors and others.
Okay.
Didn't think it was very necessary to have the meeting. Didn't think that former heads of state could really contribute to this, because this is not a political thing. It's a technical thing now. It's a technical, how do we in fact reconstruct this country? How do we put those people in the shelters back to their places or new places and so forth? I just don't see how politicians can solve that. So I thought maybe it wasn't the right time to do it.
Did you send your apologies to?
I did.
You did?
I did send my apology to the president. Yes.
Did you talk to him personally?
We did. We did. He talked to me, and I sent him a text message.
Okay.
A day later, that I'll not be able to attend, and so that's what happened.
How often do you talk to President Chakwera?
I think I've talked to him since I left office.
Yes.
Maybe 2 times, I think.
And this one was the second time?
Yeah, I think so. This may be the second time. Or
I understand at some point he came and visited you.
He did. He did. He came over there. Yeah.
What message did he bring?
He didn't bring any particular message. I think he just wanted to make a courtesy call. So he came here, and in there he brought his own chairs.
The president brought his own chair?
Yes, and his own coffee. Because some have coffee, yeah? So he brought his own chairs and his own coffee in there. And so we chatted for about an hour. It was a wonderful meeting, very, very cordial. And you found that he discovered that I have some connections with the Assemblies of God.
Okay.
Because when I was at the secondary school, our chaplain was Reverend Williams from Missouri, who actually ended up at the General Council, General Secretary of the World Assemblies of God. And the president know him also. Yeah. So we talked about that, and so told him that before my father died, we had left the CCAP and brought Assemblies of God to our village. So we had that kind of commonality, and we had a very cordial meeting.
Were you offended, Your Excellency, that President Chakwera brought his own coffee and chair to your house?
No, I was just surprised. I wasn't offended, but I'm sure he's concerned about his security. He didn't feel that he could sit on my chairs. Maybe there might be some, things there, or coffee, something might happen. So I can understand that.
If we were to,
I'm sure his advisors are the ones who advise him that, and so I do understand that. Only that I was very surprised. That's all.
If you were to visit him, would you carry your own chair?
I don't think he would allow me to take the chair to the State House.
And are you willing to reciprocate that visit? Because he visited you in a Malawian setup. When somebody visits you, you visit them again.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that's something to think about, yeah.
Coming back to Cyclone Freddy, others might think that you are not patriotic enough to hold a conversation with your fellow heads of state on this disaster.
Why so?
Because you declined to go to a conversation table.
So that's not patriotic?
It's not about me. I'm just saying others might think that you're not patriotic enough and that maybe you don't love this country.
If they think that is a very twisted way of thinking, I love this country. I will serve this country in all sorts of capacities. And just because I was not able to attend the meeting, and there are many other reasons for not attending.
There are many other reasons?
Yes, which I cannot mention to you. If I did, you would understand why I did not attend. But I don't think for people to think that that's not
But for the sake of our viewers, would you be kind enough to share just a few of those reasons?
No, I will not.
You will not?
No.
Why?
Well, because they're confidential things, they're confidential matters.
Is it about Sanjika Palace? Is it about the venue of the meeting?
No.
It's about what?
Just about the meeting.
I'm trying to probe that you should. I'm trying to probe that you should give me more reasons.
No, it's just about the meeting per se.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So what's the question?
The question is: are there any other reasons why? I'm asking: is it about the venue? Is it, or you don't want to be in the same place with Joyce Banda or Bakiri Muluzi? What is it?
No. It's not that. It's not about the venue. It's as I say, that there are quite a few reasons. One, I think the meeting was particularly necessary. We hope that there will be a communique to tell us what they discussed at that meeting. I'm sure, and I think there are other reasons why. I thought it was prudent not to go.
Do you still believe, Your Excellency, that the presidency, your presidency, was stolen from you?
Stolen?
Yeah. You have hinted on that many times.
Oh, I have?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't think I have. I think all I've said was that I think the manner in which the whole thing was done, the violence was unacceptable. This is a democratic country. The violence was unnecessary, and when people were saying things like they were ready to shed blood, and so forth, for this my government to go, those were unnecessary things, and so forth, and certainly the fact that we were properly elected, and all the international observers, as I mentioned at the dinner of the United Nations, European Union, African Union, SADC, COMESA, all of them said the election was free, fair, transparent, and commendable. That it was, elected. There was nothing wrong about it. So it is certainly also a situation which is bothering. Obviously, when the court said, look, the election was not rigged. The court said that. And they said that there were some irregularities, but there are always irregularities anyway in an election, but they did not affect the outcome of the election, and so nullify the election. it's a puzzle to most lawyers, including myself.
Okay.
I don't know if you read an article by James Comey, a distinguished lawyer, a member of the British Bar. He's the one who used the term judicial coup d'etat. It's not me. I'm not the one who used it. You read that article, or I can send you and you can Google it. He's the one who said this was bizarre. The way this election, it has never happened anywhere in the world that an election which was considered fair has been overturned. Never. Nowhere else has it ever happened. You see, so obviously, I'm not pleased about it.
You're not pleased about it?
Of course not.
Okay.
Of course not.
So you're still bitter?
No, not bitter, but
Okay.
I'm not pleased about it.
Okay.
Because I think the whole thing was wrong. The whole thing was wrong and unfair. But I'm not bitter, no. I've gotten past that now. I'll move on to other things. So.
Like what?
Oh, like what I told you before, life, doing other things. Let me give you a magazine here.
Yeah.
I gave an interview that, what to say, that so far from a death sentence, that leaving the presidency is not a death sentence. I'll give you a copy.
This is mine?
You keep it, yeah.
Okay. So from a death to sentence.
It's not a death sentence.
It's not a death sentence.
No, it's not.
So you have no regrets whatsoever that you're no longer president of the Republic of Malawi?
Well, I regret the fact that I was robbed of the opportunity to serve the country for another 4 years. I had a lot of plans for this country, like Mangochi Airport, for example, the city here. I wanted a city here, what funding, a resort city like Shemashek. For the same people who built Shemashek in Egypt came here. So International Airport, and a few other things I want to do in the country.
Others think that those were just mere rhetorics.
No. Even the money was found.
Yeah, but you talked about turning Malawi into Singapore.
Uh-huh.
Were you serious, Your Excellency?
Yes, I was. I was moving Malawi towards Singapore. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
I'm moving it towards Singapore, and we're doing things like, for example, the interchange in Lilongwe, the way it's done. That's the level of Singapore, first world country. I don't know if you've been there. The interchange in Lilongwe.
Yes, I've been there.
That's first world.
Okay.
In terms of, and some of the buildings we've introduced here. For example, Sejokoa Hotel in Banda.
Yeah.
And that was my initiative. That's first class. That's first world country. So that's what I was talking about. That we want to move the country towards Singapore in terms of vibrancy, but also in terms of development. That's what I was saying. And I didn't say we'd turn it into Singapore in one day, but we're moving towards that direction when they took away the government. So I didn't achieve.
What do you miss? What do you miss most being a president? If you can just mention one thing for us.
I think I miss serving the country and really trying to solve problems that we are facing.
You did?
I do.
Others would choose to differ.
Okay.
That your government was labeled corrupt.
Oh, really?
There was a lot of corruption.
Okay.
And that's why people didn't vote for you.
Oh, really? Why don't they, arrest people who are corrupt? Come out, they say, okay, the government was stealing and so forth. Why don't they come out and say, A, B, C, D, these people were just saying, have the money to do that in 3 years now? Or they have these small cases, like somebody trying to buy land at Kanjes and those kind of little things. But in terms of somebody stealing money from the government, zero. Because nobody stole money from the government. It's not possible to steal money from the government. How do you do it? Do you know how the system works? The accountant general there, Reserve Bank, and their passcodes and all this. There is no way a president or a minister can steal money from the government. There's no way. Maybe those people have access to the password like what they did with Cashgate, those people, but not in Cashgate, it wasn't ministers in the government. It was mostly a bunch of civil servants.
So you
had access, I think, to IFMIS and to the whole system, that payment system that existed there. But no, they are not being able to prove that anybody.
So you want to tell us that you had a clean cabinet? Your ministers were not corrupt?
Yes, I'm saying that.
Were you staying with them in the offices for you to say that?
No, I was not,
Yeah.
but I'm assuming because there's no evidence brought to me
Okay.
that any minister was involved in corruption. Nobody has brought that evidence to me. So I'm assuming that they were clean, that they were not corrupt.
So what you miss most, you said, is saving the people.
Yeah, saving the country. For example, building something new.
Yeah.
When you do a road, for example, like this beautiful road, I'm sure I've seen how beautiful it is.
Yes.
That's almost like Singapore.
The Peter Mutharika Highway.
That's right. Or the Zuzu Karabe. Have you been there?
Yes, I have been there.
Beautiful road. You see, first class.
And that's
built under me. Yeah.
Okay.
Fed by the Austrians.
Okay.
This one was Motor Angel, the Portuguese.
Beautiful road. Yeah.
Beautiful road. I mean other things. So when you see things like that, doing new things, and for example, the plan I had for Ring Road around Blantyre, those were very exciting kind of things that we try to do. So I miss that. I miss being able to do that. But otherwise, that's fine. I'm happy now.
What about your lows of your presidency?
Yeah.
What would you describe as some of your lowest moments as president of the Republic of Malawi then? Any regrets?
No regrets. I think the lowest moment was probably with the violent demonstrations.
Okay.
When people decided to become lawless and make statements like they want to shed blood if they don't get into power.
Who said that?
Some people said, some politicians, I think they did.
Okay.
And things like that. The terrible demonstrations and the fact that so many people were injured, property destroyed, that was a long moment. I wasn't pleased about it, obviously. So when I look back, that episode,
yeah,
that period,
yeah,
it makes me feel sad that we sank so low, allowed demonstrations, because I felt that people are entitled to demonstrate, and I'm a Democrat, and so we didn't arrest people or tear gas people. Even myself, I've been tear gas so many times in 2014, as you know.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that. But I believe that people are right with democracy. But if they took advantage of that and became irresponsible, and used people, violence, people from surrounding areas in Ronge to destroy the city. That thing, I think Einstein, according to economists, put us back about, I think, 52 billion. Is that right? A huge amount of money. This country cannot wait. A complete irresponsible act by some politicians. So that makes me sad until now.
Let's talk about the Democratic Progressive Party, the party that you're still the president.
President, yes.
Is the convention happening this July, as we were told?
I still hope so. As you know, as I said, we just had a fundraiser to raise money for the NGC and also for the convention. I'll be meeting the fundraiser committee next week. We'll be coming here to report. I don't know how much money we raised. I don't know. But on the basis of that, I'm hoping we raise enough money to have at least the National Governing Council. Sometime, in the near future, and the National Governing Council is the one that will decide, you see, when the convention should take place and where and how, the mechanics of that. That will be decided by National Governing Council. I hope that it was scheduled to take place in 2018, according to our Constitution.
Yeah.
Because the last one was on July 3rd, 2018. So it's 5 years. So by July, we should have the convention under normal circumstances. But now there are all these other factors that are there, and we just know the NGC will decide when actually we should have the convention.
Allow us to take a short break, Your Excellency.
Okay.
We'll be back with you in a moment.
Okay.
Well, in case of just joining us, I'm joined by His Excellency, the former President of the Republic of Malawi, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, fondly called APM, and President of the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP. We'll be back momentarily.
How often do you wash your favorite clothes? 52 times a year? How long do you wear them before they fade away? 3, 4 years? Imagine a paint with washability capabilities of up to 10,000 scrubs during its life. Imagine a paint that maintains its luster for over 7 years. Imagine a paint with a velvet finish and water resistance. Stop imagining, because Rainbow Acrylic Sheen does it all and beyond. An all-time hero for interior and exterior finishing that brings smiles to thousands of families and contractors. Rainbow Paints. Peace of mind. Part of the deal.
If you're just joining us, welcome aboard. We're actually in the last part of our conversation tonight with the former President of the Republic of Malawi, His Excellency Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, APM, who is also President of the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP. Welcome back to our final part of our discussion tonight,
Thank you.
Your Excellency.
Thank you.
Are you running? And I want you to be candid with me. Calls have been made that you should run again in 2025.
Yeah.
Are you running? Yes or no?
I know many calls have been made.
Yes or no?
And I'm flattered. It's too complicated just to say yes or no.
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
You see, I've been, a lot of people have approached me. People in the party, chiefs from the faith community.
Chiefs from Cholo?
All parts of the country.
Chiefs from Cholo?
All over the country.
All over the country?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Including the central region?
Yes.
Okay.
And including the religious organizations and others that I should consider running. And I say why. And I think they feel that we did a very good job. Maybe people didn't appreciate what we're doing. I think now they can see, compare with what they have, and people see that. I think probably some people think they made a mistake. So if people come here and say, and so forth. So that statement. Now I have to think about it. You see, running for president, as I said during our interview here when one was here, it's very, very complicated. It's very difficult, in terms of physically, mentally, financially. I've run for president 3 times now. When I ran in 2019, I thought that was the last time I was going to run. I didn't know I'd run again in 2020, so to run within a year. Now to think about running for president again, all those factors have to be taken into account. And so forth, and also the interest of the party. You see, the party, we need to find the best candidate for the party to get back into power. As I said at the dinner.
Come again on that?
And I said we need a good candidate.
Okay. And is that candidate you?
For not necessarily, but for the party to get back into power.
Okay.
I think we need a candidate that people think can run the government and manage the economy. As I said last time at the fundraiser, not necessarily an economist as such, but it could be a businessman, it could be somebody.
Do you have that person in mind?
No, I don't. But I'm saying it has to be somebody who has the experience to really manage the economy, to take politics, whether it's in America or in Russia or in China. It's managing the economy.
Yeah, but you also mentioned Tisa Zavodere Burutu. Who were you referring to?
No, I didn't find anybody.
There was nobody in your mind?
No, I was saying, I said Zavodere Burutu, I was saying that we should not vote for somebody who do not meet the sort of minimum requirements of being president of this country.
Yeah.
It could be any person. And that's what I was saying, that there's no particular person.
Yeah.
Just like when I said we should select somebody who can manage the economy, I don't have anybody in mind either. No particular person either. In both cases, I'm talking about a purely objective, hypothetical person.
Yeah.
That this would be the person, the best person to run
So-
the
so
country,
you-
and this person will not be able to run the country. That's what I'm saying.
And you want to tell me that when the convention comes,
Yeah.
you're not going to back anyone?
No. When the convention comes,
Yeah.
I think, as I said at Monaco,
Yeah.
that I'll give them criterion, the criterion for who we should have. Just like what I said at the fundraiser.
Yeah.
We have somebody with experience, I think somebody with integrity, somebody patriotic, of course, and somebody that I think can run the country, has some kind of record that you can look at. This person in life has done A, B, C, D. You know, whether it's in business or academia or whatever it is, this person has done A, B, C, D. We think this person can run the country and the economy. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about purely objective person, no particular individual.
So there are two questions here.
Right.
Finding a candidate to run the party,
Right.
and chiefs, the clergy and the civil society calling you to run.
Yes.
How are you balancing the two? Because at one point in time, I get the sense that you are interested to give it a go, but at the same time, you're looking for someone to run the party.
Why do you get that impression? I would have
Because
never said I was going to.
No, I'm saying you have told.
You got the impression.
Yeah, I
that
got.
I was interested.
No, because you have told me that the clergy,
Right.
the civil society,
Yeah.
are calling on you to run.
Right.
And you're thinking about it.
Yes.
That's what you have told me.
Correct.
But at the same time, you are also talking of someone who can lead the party.
Right.
What should I get from you?
But are the two mutually exclusive?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking this question.
I don't know. Yeah. The two can exist together.
They can?
I think so.
Okay.
It's two thoughts, and those two thoughts can exist together.
I see.
Yes.
So are you interested to run?
Right. No. As I said before,
Yeah.
I've been in politics for a long time. I have to look at these things. Reality, I have to look at the interests of the party and the will of the people. And I love this party. I've spent my time building this party.
Yeah.
After, you know how the party was after my brother passed on. It was dead.
Yeah.
It was dead, completely gone. We rebuilt that party, so I've invested my time and energy in this. So, and I want this party because I think it has a beautiful agenda and philosophy. I want it to get back into power. You know, so what I want is anybody who can find whom we think can really get this party back into power. That person will say, this is your duty,
Yeah.
your obligation
Yeah.
to this party, to your party, take this party back into power. That's what I'm saying.
When are you going to make up your mind? Because you said you're still thinking about it.
Before the convention, certainly before the convention. Once we know the date of the convention,
Yeah.
I'll give everybody heads up.
Okay.
Enough time to think about it. So I will, at the right time, say, you know,
You're running or you're not?
Or I'm running or I'm not. I think this is the best person to do it.
Okay.
If I find a better person,
Yeah.
I think this is a better person to take our party back into power. Because what we want is to get our party back into power and our philosophy of development back into this country, into the governance of this country. That's my interest.
Should you decide to run, Your Excellency?
Yes.
Others might be concerned about your strength
Right.
to run.
Right.
How old are you now?
I'm 82.
82.
Right.
And by 2025, do you think you still have the stamina
85.
to run a campaign?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope so. I hope God will take care of me.
At 85.
As years pass. But do you read the Bible?
I do read the Bible.
Do you remember Methuselah in the Bible?
Yes, I do.
How old was he?
Yeah, but those were Bible times.
But it's so age. How old is Shadrach? How old was Methuselah? 600 years, right?
What are you telling me, Your Excellency?
100 years. I'm thinking that nobody's too old.
Okay.
Each person must be judged, separately. That's what I'm saying.
That brings me to my next question, to say offenses are reported to have committed under your presidency.
Yeah.
The tipping issue,
Yeah.
where people were bringing in cement in your name.
Right.
And people might be concerned to say, if those things were happening, what about when you be 85? How many more atrocities people would commit in your name? And by the way, did you know that people were bringing in cement using your TIPN?
I think I've said this before.
Yeah.
I've answered that question. In any event, this matter is now before the court.
Yeah.
You see, and therefore it's sub judice. It involves our own people.
Yeah.
Some people have been indicted and so forth.
Yeah.
And I think in all fairness, it's important that I don't prejudice the evidence.
Okay.
That before the court. So in me, it's better that we don't discuss it at this point.
You don't want to.
But I've made statements before, and they're on record.
Which statement?
Those my statement about whether I knew or did not know. I've already made those statements.
Yeah, I want for the sake of this interview.
On record.
For the sake of
I don't
this
think it's
interview.
necessary to repeat
Did
them.
you know or you did not?
No, I don't think I need to comment on that.
Okay. I respect you.
Because we're going into the evidence.
Okay.
And witnesses.
Okay.
It's quite possible they might bring me as a witness.
Okay.
So I think maybe
I respect your position.
Okay.
I respect position.
Sure.
But considering that you are also an expert in law, I wouldn't want to take it any further.
Okay.
Your bank accounts
Yes.
were reported to have been frozen.
Yeah.
And people were worried to say, how are you going to earn a living? Considering that your accounts were frozen. I want to take this opportunity to know if those accounts are still frozen or not.
I think that matter is still in the courts, including, if you remember, also accounts belonging to the DPP. Remember, also frozen.
Yeah.
And so all this now with the lawyers in the courts. I think the issues are now at appellate level, maybe, or pending appeal or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So maybe, again, it's probably important, in fairness to my lawyers, I think my lawyers worry that maybe I sometimes talk too much on these matters, that I should shut up and I make their job easier.
Okay, if the accounts are still frozen, how are you meeting your expenses?
Oh, I make expenses. I have friends and others who help, and I manage to do that. I manage. I worked for a long time. Over 40 years, and so I'm able to survive, and with the help of friends and others.
Is the government looking after you?
In what sense?
In your daily living.
Well, the government gives us some benefits, of course.
Yeah.
Benefits.
Are they honoring those benefits?
Some of them have been honored, some not yet.
Like what?
Like vehicle, housing. I think because of the difficulties of the economy.
So they haven't given you vehicles and housing?
No, they've given one. But
one vehicle?
I'm entitled to two, which is fine.
Okay.
Housing, they're trying to find that. And I'm able to resolve that yet, as far as I know. I think my assistant is handling that. But otherwise, some of the benefits, like having staff and so forth, those are being honored,
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a united DPP. Have you resolved your issues with the leader of opposition, Honorable Kondwani Nankumwa?
Actually,
And do you recognize Honorable Nankumwa as your leader of opposition?
actually, there were never really issues between Honorable Nankuma and the party at all. I think it was. I think the feeling by the party that maybe he should slow down a little bit, and that's what started this whole thing. You know, as he himself has said, I sent people as early as 2018 to meet him to tell him that he should slow down on campaigning and so forth because it was so far away.
Yeah.
Because this is starting 2018 or some 2019 maybe, and so I'm sure he himself I think has considered that he did abide by that to some extent. So there are no differences really. Now on the leader of opposition thing, I'm sure you know the history.
Yeah.
Now what has happened is that we met here on the veranda here, and we elected George Chaponda as leader of opposition. The matter went to court. They took an injunction to the court. And the court asked the party and the Nankuma group to reconcile a mediation. And I think there was some mediation. I think there was mediation. And later on, I believe what happened later on, the DPP agreed to withdraw Honorable Chaponda's election.
Yeah.
So that we go back to where we were before,
Yeah.
and then negotiate further and see what happens next. So at that point, I think, according to my lawyer for the party, I think the DPP, the Nankuma people did not want the mediation anymore. They want to continue to go to court on the issue of the election of Chaponda.
Yeah.
So the matter is now before the court. I'm not sure what the issue now is, but the matter is before the court.
I asked
so the issue is still unresolved.
Oh, it's still unresolved as we speak.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so do you recognize Honorable Nankuma as the leader of opposition? Does he have your blessing?
No, it's not for me to recognize anybody. The issue is the party. The party feels that they wanted another leader of opposition. And that's why there was an election here. And most of the MPs were here. There were about 4 to 6 MPs here. And they elected Honorable George Chaponda. That's the position of the party. I think that the position of the party, I believe, is that because Honorable Nankuma was not elected.
I'm asking about you. Would you rather see George Chaponda as leader of opposition or Kondwani Nankuma?
No, for me it doesn't matter. I want to see a person legitimately elected by the party.
Yeah. So is Honorable Nankuma legitimately elected by the party?
Section 35 of the standing order says that the party with the largest majority in parliament shall elect leader of opposition. That's what Section 35A says of standing order. Now, traditionally, when you say elect in this sense, what it means is that the party decides who leader of opposition should be. So in the past, for example, or leader of the House, I'm for example, the one who appointed Chaponda leader of the House, and then after that he was succeeded by Nankuma.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to make an appointment. On behalf of the party, this has been the tradition. I was supposed to make an appointment of a leader of opposition.
Yeah.
That did not happen. You know, there was all that confusion at that particular point. So it never happened.
Yeah.
So I never really exercised that power.
Okay.
So that's what happened.
So if you were to exercise that power, would you appoint Honorable Nankuma or no?
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily?
Not necessarily. Maybe I would, or maybe I would not, depending on other factors. At that particular point, I would have considered him also together with others. There was Chaponda, potential leader. There was Kasaira, potential leader. There were 3 or 4 or 5 people.
I see.
Among Saka, there are quite a few able people also. And among those that are considered, with the party, when you say the party actually,
Yeah.
But the president of the party, then on behalf of the party, will send the name to the speaker to say the person who is the leader of opposition now is going to be this, and the number 2 is going to be the chief whip is going to be this. That's how it works.
The race for the DPP presidency is gaining momentum.
Right.
There are able young men that are rising, both here and outside. What comes to my mind is, for example, Sidri Ngalande from America is also interested in the race.
Right.
Does that give you difficulties on how you maneuver? How are you going to manage these interests that the presidency is attracting, the DPP presidency?
But why should I do that? Why should that bother me?
I talked about you having divided attention.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Divided the divisions.
Yes.
But you know that in politics, there was divisions in political parties. Look at even the United States. Look at Biden. There were 21 candidates in the primary. 21 candidates, but they all fell by the wayside. But after he won, they all decided to support him.
Okay.
On the side of Trump, 2016. No, what year is this? 16. 2020. There were maybe 10 or 15. He said that Cruz and also the people, they all fell by the wayside, Trump won the nomination, and everyone joined together. So there's no doubt in my mind that maybe all these 5, 6, or 7 or 10 people, there may be others who don't even know yet. But I'm sure that when it all is said and done, when a person is legitimately elected, if somebody legitimately elected at the convention in good faith, I think all the others will support that person. Because there can only be one leader. The others will support, and the party will get together and then fight the Tonse Alliance.
Talking about Tonse Alliance, President Chakwera has been on the seat now for 3 years. How would you rate his presidency, Your Excellency?
At the moment, I can't rate him.
You can't?
No, I don't have any substance to rate him on.
You don't have any
substance to
rate on your side or on his side?
On his side.
On his side.
Rate him on. There's nothing I can rate him on. I still have to wait and see what he has done.
You don't see anything that he has done?
At the moment, I don't. Yes.
So that's how you can rate his presidency?
At the moment, I think I have to wait. I think I have to wait a little bit more and see what he has done, what his projects are, what his vision is, and so forth. Then I'll be able. It'd be unfair to rate him at this point because I don't have much to rate him on. In all fairness, I don't think it's fair. I'll have to wait until I see more substance. As time goes on, I think we'll be able to see that.
Those who sympathize with the Tonse government, and especially President Chakwera, they are saying that maybe he cannot do much, considering that he started with facing the COVID challenge, and then there have been other calamities like Russia-Ukrainian war, and now we are talking of cyclones. There was Ida, and now there is Freddy. So you probably wouldn't expect him to do much with all these problems. If you were still the head of state and government, would you have done differently, Your Excellency?
Yes, probably. There are always problems at any given time. As long as there are people, there'll be problems. And some problems will be global, some will be local. That will always be the case. So it's upon the government to find solutions to problems. When I got in, for example, remember the floods of devastating floods of February 2015, and we entered a situation where the economy had completely been destroyed by cascade, remember? when the donors left immediately. I was the first president to run this country without donor support. So those are factors beyond our control. As a government, we manage to stabilize the economy. We manage to reduce interest rates, inflation. We manage, and the biggest reserves in the history of this country, 1.4 billion kwacha, amount to 6.1 months of import cover. We're able to do it. So the point I'm trying to say is that, of course, there will always be problems. Of course, there will be Ukraines, there will be choleras, there will be some things, who knows what next. There will always be problems, but our government is a duty to find a way to solve those problems. You can't just sit back and say, oh, because there's cholera, I'm going to do nothing about it. No. That's not why people elect people. People elect governments to solve problems, which may happen, which exist, or which may happen in future. So yes, we would have done it differently.
The 2020 elections saw you partnering with Atupe Muluzi,
Right.
then of UDF.
Correct.
Are you still in partnership today, 3 years down the line, with the United Democratic Front?
No, we are not. You see, you remember, I think I'm sure I think the current president of UDF did make a statement that the alliance is no longer there.
Okay.
I think so. They poured out of the alliance, but I talked to one about Atupe. I have great respect for him. I think he's an able young man with a lot of integrity. So I was very, very pleased to work with him in 2020.
And at the dinner, the fundraiser at Mount Sochi, you didn't mention about him. You talked of how Right Honorable Saulos Klaus Chilima took DPP votes.
Right.
Did Atupe bring anything to the pact?
Oh yes, of course. Of course he did. But it wasn't necessary for me to mention him.
Okay.
I was talking about why we lost. That we lost because of the 20% of Chilima. I said from 2014, 2019, 2020, our votes have gone up and up and up. In fact, 2020 had more votes, percentage-wise, but also in absolute terms than we did 2019 to 2020. So I was saying that the reason why we lost, because in all those elections, I came first, Chakwera second, Chima third, and then Joyce Banda fourth in 2019, and Atupe in 2019. Fourth, but I was saying therefore that it was because of the DP votes that he broke from the DPP. So some DPP followed him. So I'm saying those 20% are votes, and those are the ones that went to Chakwera. On his own, Chakwera could not have beaten us.
Yeah, but you had Saulos.
Well, you want to go 35% of the votes.
You had Saulos Chilima.
Yes.
What went wrong between you two for you to lose him so that he could partner with MCP?
Remember he resigned from the party 2 years earlier.
Yeah, but what happened? Because I thought it's you who had picked him from wherever he was. So what went wrong?
I have no idea. Believe me.
You didn't cause it?
That's one of the mysteries of our time, because I have absolutely no idea what happened. I had him, and he was my vice president, and was clearly going to be my running mate again, and probably took over the party after that. After I left office, that's what.
Come again on that. You said what have you just said?
No, I assumed that after I left, he was my vice president. That after I left, that maybe he would become, leader of the party, as a normal vice president would do that. That was my assumption. Why he left, I really have never been able to understand.
You didn't cause it?
No, not at all. We had a very cordial relationship. at a personal level, and I don't see how I could have caused it.
And do you have any regrets that he took 20% of DPP votes?
No, I don't. That's a democracy. That's democracy. People, alliances change in politics. As they say, I know this is a cliche that there are no permanent friends. I know it's silly, a silly statement, but the point is, things change in politics. So things change, and you have to move on with a new situation or new reality that took place.
As we finish our discussion, you had mentioned that when you were in government, your government was not corrupt. I'm just troubled with that thought.
Yes.
With all that went into your presidency, you know, money disappearing, and you still believe that you had a clean.
Which money disappeared?
There were so many stories.
Which one?
Others are still in court.
Like who?
What comes to my mind? So many things. I cannot talk now.
Yeah.
But so many. If you go into the newspapers, there are so many stories of money being misappropriated.
I'm not aware of any money being no.
Others are still facing court. They are still in court as we speak right now.
Now I know there are some members of my administration.
Yeah.
Who were arrested 2 years ago. But up to now, they have not been charged or asked to enter a plea because they say they're still investigating. There's no evidence on them. And it's people, 2 years now, some people on bail for 2 years. You know who I'm talking about. Some of the cabinet ministers and others from my government. So what I don't understand really is, you know, the so-called high five of Towards Alliance. One of the principles in the so-called high five is the rule of law. And the rule of law means that you don't charge somebody unless you have investigated and give them a chance to answer certain questions, then you charge them. But what has happened in some of the high-profile cases you are talking about, a former minister and another one, others high officials, they were arrested, charged, but they say they're still investigating. Now, if you have no evidence and they are still investigating, why arrest somebody? What's the rush? Where are you hurrying? What's the rush? You saw in the United States what's going on there. There was a grand jury impaneled in New York by district attorney in New York. And the way it works there, the grand jury is impaneled, and the prosecutor must give evidence before the grand jury against somebody, against a suspect. And the grand jury will decide to indict somebody. They say, okay, sufficient evidence, this person must be indicted. And the person is indicted. But you just wake up one morning, you know, after your coffee and say, I'm going to arrest so-so-so, when there was no evidence, and say, no, we're investigating it. And that's nonsense, and it's wrong.
Nonsense?
Yes, and it is wrong.
Unfortunately,
it's against the rule of law. It's wrong.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to leave it there.
All right.
What would be your concluding thought for tonight?
My concluding thought is, first of all, on the general situation, Malawians, that I so appreciate the kind of support I'm getting from different sections of Malawi society and words of goodwill. I really appreciate that very much. I'm grateful to that. Now, on the tragedy facing us now, let me just say, Malawians, don't give up. The God has not forsaken us. As I said earlier, the Lord has his own reasons for the way things happen. And I'm sure the Lord will take us out of this difficulty. And one day, I'm sure, we shall overcome. Let's unite, the party, let's unite. We work on the convention. We'll be united. This will be a unity convention. We'll create a unity convention. We'll be united after we select our candidate, all of us together. We'll campaign for that person and make sure that person, whoever it is, will win. Because I think people realize now that the DPP had a good agenda, good policies, reflecting what we did, infrastructure development, improving the economy, and so on and so forth. And therefore the people, I think, will vote for us again. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, quite interesting hearing you talk, and I want to thank you most kindly for opening your house so that you can accommodate us and to have this candid conversation, your first major interview since leaving office. We are profoundly honored.
Yeah. And regard how you have always liked your program. It sometimes is quite aggressive, but I've always enjoyed your program, and I've enjoyed you interviewed me before when I was, I think, a minister.
Yes.
You had another station.
Yes.
Then I think it was Radio FM or something.
Yes, yes.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember that. So we've come a long way.
Yes, yes.
And I'm glad finally we were able to come here again, together again.
Yeah.
And that may be, this one will be the last one.
Yeah.
That maybe there will be others.
When you make up your mind on whether to run or not to run, I hope you call me again.
You will be the first one. I told Wanda when he was here. When he was here last time, you remember that? That TTV exclusive will be the first to know.
Yeah, and you have honored that promise. You have not.
No.
Yeah.
I keep my promise.
Yes,
I promise you that.
Okay.
You'll be the first to know.
Okay.
All right.
Your Excellency, once again, thank you very much. We are profoundly honored.
God bless.
Thank you.
And travel well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, on that note, we conclude this week's edition of Times Exclusive. I was honored to have a conversation with the former head of state and government, His Excellency Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika. Those who love him, they fondly call him APM. My name is Brian Banda from Page House in Mangochi, thanking you for tuning in, and so long from Mangochi.